UK. We'll talk about the childcare options, how you'll be able to kind of like mold your kids to cope with bullying, to adjust to the system, and everything. Okay, so if this video interests you, please stick with me. And today I'm in the studio with Kashmina and Andy. Okay, so I'll let them introduce themselves quickly, then we dive into the topic. Don't go anywhere. Hi, Kashmana. Do you mind introducing yourself, please?
Hi, Fatima. Kashmana Ijagwa Itomi, and I'm happy to be here. I'm a mom living in the UK, and I'm hoping that we're going to have a very meaningful discussion today surrounding childcare in the UK.
Right. Okay. Let me just add that Kashmana is also a YouTuber, and I've tagged her handle in the description below. Please don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to our channel, support us. She makes video on fashion, lifestyle, and others on her channel. So please don't forget to visit her channel and show her some love. Okay. Okay. So now, Andy, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, my name is Andy Twin. Um, I'm a gospel musician, I'm a songwriter, and then a recording artist. So yeah, basically, I live in the UK. I'm a dad and I'm a husband. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a husband. That's
that's
good.
it basically.
The most important thing is that he is a dad. Did you hear that? These are two wonderful parents that we brought here. Trust me, you are going to like this. Okay, we have carefully brought two wonderful parents here to tell you all that you need to know. So if you are planning to bring kids here, please stick with us to the very end. If you're already here with your kids, I bet you're gonna like this. Okay, just stay with us. You're gonna like some few tips how to help your kids boost their confidence in school, how to deal with bullying and other. Your kids don't have to be timid, okay? They don't have to choose either UK culture or their native culture. There's a way you can go about it. And I'm sure that when you are here with us to the very end, you're gonna learn all these things. Okay. So yeah. So moving on, I just want to find out for my guests, our first question is that how accessible is childcare for immigrant parents in the UK, especially for those who are not entitled to public funds? I understand that not everyone is entitled to public funds in the UK, just especially immigrants. In fact, all immigrants are not entitled to public funds, but then most immigrants have their families in the UK. So, how is it like? How is the accessibility like? In terms of legal and just practical terms, if you can elaborate this for me. And did you mind going first, please?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you first of all for having me on your set. Um, I'm very grateful and I don't take it for granted at all. And I also want to say good afternoon, good morning to all your viewers, depending on where they are watching us from. Um, yes, we in terms of accessibility to childcare, yeah, childcare is accessible depending on where you sit or where you stand. Yes, um, if your child is is at a certain age, you may take your child to school for free. So let me say legally, if your child is 4 years and above, so any child above 4 years has 3 hours in school. So if the child is 4 years, you can take the child to reception for free, and then 5 years, 6 years, they can be year one, year two, and all of that for free. Yes. So, but if your child is below the age of 4 years, so let's say your child is 3 years, yes, your child will have 15 hours for free. So the government gives you 15 hours a week for free. If you want more than the 15 hours, then you are going to pay for the additional hours your child is going to spend in nursery, because 3 years your child will be in nursery, not in school, but will be in nursery. So you have 15 hours for free from the government, and then any additional hours you want or need, you will need to pay for it. So I would say childcare, yeah, it's accessible. Yeah, depending on your situation.
Wow, it's acceptable as migrants. And listening from you, it's just the 15 hours that we have if your child is 2 years and above. So it simply
No,
means
three
that
years,
3 years and
and
above.
up. 3 years. Yeah.
All right. So before three
So
years of age,
3 years, they have 15 years. If they are 4 years and above, that one unlimited. So they spend the whole hours in school for free
okay. So when you say 15 hours, is it 15 hours a week or a month?
a week. So every week
Oh,
they give your child 15 hours. So it depends on the nursery your child goes. Some nurseries will have they can give you 3 hours each day. So 3 hours Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Some schools will let you choose. So for example, with my case, when my child was 3 years, the first school we took her to, the first nursery, they wanted to give us 3 hours each day. And I was like, I don't have that time to be doing that 3 hours business. So can they give her like maybe 6 hours, 6 hours, and then 3 hours? And they were like, no, they don't do it that way. They only do 3 hours a day. So we
Yeah.
took her to another nursery who were willing. So they have sections. So the first section is either 6.5 hours or 3 hours. So they gave her 6.5 hours for 2 days, which becomes 13 hours. And then they don't have 2 hour sessions, they only have 3 hour sessions. So which means that if they give her the 3 hour session, it's going to go beyond the 15 hours, meaning I'll have to pay for the extra hour you get a week.
yeah.
So that's what I did. So she was doing 16 hours a week, and then I was paying for the extra hour. So it
Okay.
depends on the next year and how they arrange it.
Right. Okay. So even with the 15 hours, you still have the opportunity to negotiate as to how many hours you want your child to do in a day. And that also depends on the school, right?
Yeah,
So if these school terms do not favor you, then you can move to the other nursery. So these are
yeah,
the only kind of like subsidies, opportunities for childcare for migrants in the UK. Wow, that is interesting. Yeah, so talking about, I mean, migrating to the UK in general. Okay, I know that even as adults, adjusting to the UK system is usually very difficult. It needs, like, it takes time for you to get yourself abreast to the system. Now we are talking about children, and both of you have children. Okay, if you can share with me how your children have coped in the system. Okay, what did you do to support them to cope in school? I mean, with the new environment, the new culture, etc. Maybe Kashmana will go, because maybe your child had the opportunity to experience Nigerian culture before coming in here. So, what was the impact you contributed on her to be able to cope well in school amidst all the cultural differences?
Oh, thank you, Fatima, for this wonderful platform. You are doing a good job. I really appreciate it. And then thank everyone for joining on the live. And then I'm hoping that whatever we say here will be very helpful. Moving to the UK from any part of the world, it's not easy. Nigeria is not any different. And then when you come here with your child, it's twice as difficult for the child as it is for us as parents. Even as adults, it's difficult navigating a new environment, new culture. So for my daughter, when we came here, she was 3 years old. So that is the development stage. It was easy for her to blend in. Though a lot of questions, she asked a lot of questions because it was obviously a different environment. So what I did was, which was not easy by the way, was constantly having to explain to her why the people here look the way they look, why the bosses are the way they are. Because it was also an eye opener for me because I had to do a lot of research because I also don't know the history of this place. I don't know the people. So I had to learn because of my daughter. I had to put in extra work so as to be able to answer her questions, because every day she comes back from school, there was something new. There was something she wanted to learn about. So I had to be able to provide answers. And at that age, one answer is not enough. So you have to keep explaining, explaining. And we did a lot of explaining to her. And I think it also has to do with the level that your child, the level of education of your child and then the child's age as well. So settling in for children is different depending on the age. For a girl of 3 years, a 3-year-old is totally different from a teenager coming from Nigeria to the UK. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So as a child, I think it's easier to navigate than a teenage girl who is coming from Nigeria and she has to deal with other teenage kids here. It's a lot of struggle. But at my daughter's age, I don't think it was such a hassle because she's just 3 years, So she blended in quite easily.
Wow, interesting. Wow, it amazes me that you have to do all that to make sure that the child integrates well into the system. Even though it might sound like it's quite easy and all that, but I personally still know that some parents find it really difficult. Now, it could also be because of the schooling, the educational difference from back home and that of the UK. Okay. So what do you think that, because I know all that work you have to do with regards to your daughter fitting in well in school here, you wouldn't have done it if you were back home. And that is because there's so many differences between the educational system here and that of home. Number one, you just talk about the fact that she might be the only colorful person in the class, or the fact that there may just be few. What are some of the differences do you think? I think Andy, you can come in now. What are some of the differences that you have seen with regards to your children and the school in the UK compared to that of home, that you would think that parents that are coming in, those that are yet to come in from other non-Western countries, should be aware of? So, for example, if you were used to treating your children this way, if you were used to preparing your children this way to school, then maybe you have to tighten your belt when you come into this UK. Maybe you have to change other things when you come into the UK. So, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, thank you once again. Um, so my situation is quite different because I was privileged enough to have my kids here in the UK. So they have never experienced Africa. They've never experienced going to school in Africa where they will have that challenge of trying to blend in. They were born here, they grew up here, and then they enter school here. So that's quite yes. But then from my own views and from what I've seen other people go through, um, back in Africa, things are done differently, especially with the school system. Um, a child can be late, the teacher can be harsh on the child, parents can be a bit harsh on them, trying to correct them. In trying to correct them, we have different ways to correct them. Some maybe a bit of harsh in a way, and then there's the children don't have everything needs to be. You need to do this, you need to do that. Now they come here and the system is different. The situation is quite different. Here they try to encourage independence. So as young as they are, as as little as even 2 years or 1 year, they still want the child to be independent in a certain level.
Yeah.
So that independence, when the children, especially those who are above the age of 5, 6 years, when they come here and they realize that, oh wow, so I can actually do this and my teacher will not even reprimand me. They get that freedom and they feel like yes, I want to do that, I want to do that. Whereas the African setup is quite different. So that is a challenge most parents, have. So apart from just being the most colorful in the class, the freedom that they kind of experience in this country is quite different. So when they come and they see that freedom, if the parent, if you as a parent, if you don't handle that situation well, it's it's going to be a disaster, because it's going to be like your child's word against your word. Because
Right.
whenever they go to school, they ask them leading questions, very enticing questions that will make them
Speak
sort
up.
of, because they know that any child that comes from Africa, they have a certain treatment which is different from the treatment here, and they don't want them to bring that kind of treatment, because to them they believe that if a child is being manhandled in the house or at home, the child will have that same effect on his other
Other
friends.
kids. Yeah.
So, for example, if your way of correcting a child is to spank the child may feel that anytime my friend also does something and I want to correct my friend, I need to hit.
Hate. Yeah.
Yes. So they
Oh.
don't want those situations in the school system or in the society. So when the children come from Africa, they try to ask them questions. What does mom do to you? If you say you are not doing this, what does mommy say? And then the children are happy to give answers, and those answers try to open up like the home to them. And if you are not careful, it's going to lead you to issues and
Right.
problems. Yeah. So I think that from the very word go, you need to understand the system first, and then know how you're going to bring that balance, you know, bring that balance so that the child can fit in properly.
Right. Yes. Because if you are in Africa, for example, nobody will had even the teachers in Africa will hardly ask your kids. I mean, what your parents are doing to you. The questions they will ask them here. So there will not be a need to for them to speak up. So if you truly do not understand the system and you get here, you will just feel like, oh, these are normal things. And I remember one guy at my workplace. He said to me one day that he need to relax, calm down on how much hours he does at work and be at home with the kids, because he's feeling like the kids are just getting out of hand. Now the way they speak to the I mean to them at home, the way they like a lot of things they do which is just out of hand and they do not understand. And sometimes, and he was telling me that there was a day his son went to school and the mark like he did homework. So when the teacher marks, I don't know the conversation, but the guy was just trying to tell the teacher that if you know what my daddy did to me and I did this homework, you understand. So according so to the boy, he was just trying to make it look like he was like the like he was disciplined to do the work, but of course they will not see it that way. You don't have to beat a child, you don't have to shout on him to do any homework. So I want to believe these are some of the challenges. So will you say that parents really find it difficult, especially immigrant parents find it so difficult to adjust in the system than even the children? Because adjusting on all these things, do not shout on the child, do not do this, do not do that, are all challenges I believe they face. Will you say so, Kashmana?
Oh, thank you, Fatima. It is difficult, extremely difficult, because you don't know any other way. That is how we were raised. As a parent, you always strive to do better do better, do right by your child. And you want the best for your child. Now, if you come here, somebody is telling you that, look, you can't raise your voice at your child. In fact, your child is telling you that, mom, you don't have to, you're raising your voice. And you
Mhm.
expect me, an African mom, raised by African parents, lived my life, over how many years of my life in Nigeria, to be okay with my child
With
telling
that,
you are raising your voice? It's not possible. You see, but I think there are boundaries. As difficult as it is, if you ask me, I'll tell you that bringing your child here and handing your child over to the system 100% does not help the parent nor the child, nor the
Okay.
system itself. What do I mean? I am introducing my child into the system. I have a culture, right? I have a way of life. The whole idea of coming here is not to do away with my culture or my way of life, but to see how I may not necessarily accept your way of life, but I have to respect it because I'm in the system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, if I have a way of um addressing issues of indiscipline with my child, I will also have to do it in line with the laws of the land. That
Yeah.
is where you don't cross the boundary, like he physically hitting the child. But there are ways that we can discipline our children.
Yeah.
You understand? So for me, it's accepting the system first. Okay, this
Yeah.
is the way things work here. What can I take out? Or what can I modify? But to entirely say, oh, you are in the UK, you just leave the child to do whatever the child wants to do, I don't agree with it. And it will never accept it.
Yeah.
Because discipline is discipline anywhere in the world. Even in the UK, you see kids who are well disciplined.
Yeah.
And then when we come here, sometimes we feel that this high level of indiscipline displayed by our children, it's civilization. Do you
Yeah.
understand? Because there's no way you tell me that a child is telling her parent to shut up. You tell me that it's okay.
Mhm.
That's not civilization.
No.
So
Yeah.
sometimes as parents, we fall short. One, because of recklessness.
Yeah.
We are so busy, so engulfed in our job. Like you rightly said, the guy who was saying that he has to spend more time with his kids. When we come here, we are so into what our jobs that we neglect the kids. So at the end of the day, you say, "Oh, it's the UK culture." I think the UK culture also encourage discipline.
Okay.
That's what I see because that is what I have seen, that they respect themselves, the way they
Mhm.
conduct themselves. As a matter of fact, you see that it's even our kids who even show a high level of indiscipline. I'm sorry to say, and it's because something, like I said, sometimes it's because we are afraid
Yeah.
to hold ourselves accountable, or we are afraid to say, look, these are the lines that you don't cross. Because when my child comes to the house, she says certain things because of what they say in school. And I'll tell her, no, where we come from, you don't use such words when you're talking to your mom. You don't speak to your dad like that. You understand? So she knows how not to speak to me and her father or all our African aunties and uncles because
Yeah.
that is her way of life. By extension, she knows that when she sees other parents who are not Africans, she needs to
Do it
address
this way.
address them respectfully.
Yeah.
So for me, discipline is not a color thing.
Yeah.
Discipline is universal. You must teach your child how to carry themselves. And by carrying yourself, it's not just by dressing up, it's by the way you speak. You understand? So we
Yeah.
have to do more because you don't just dump your child in the system. You must be accountable for your child. So it's not
Yeah.
a function of, oh, we are here, we can't be like Africans. You are first an African, you always be an African. And we
Yeah.
must tell our children that, look, this is where you come from. You can, even if you become a citizen, you whatever how many years you've lived here, you will always be an
Have a
African.
heritage. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's it. We just need to do more.
Wow, that is interesting. So it's not really about having to choose between your own heritage and that of the UK heritage. It's just the matter of embracing and trying to kind of like work with the two, just like you rightly said. I totally,
Respect their way of life, but you must uphold your values because
yeah,
without values, who are you really? You are
right,
lost.
right.
You're lost. You're neither here nor there.
Yeah,
You
I
can't
also
identify
believe that,
with African society and then you don't fit in with the system here.
right. I also believe that this boils down to the parents, the understanding of the parents, because some people come here and automatically they feel like the system is bad. The system does not support them. The system is against their culture. The system is trying to take off everything from them. So if the parents have this mindset and mentality, this fixed mindset, then definitely the child will pick up certain things.
True.
So I think it also boils down on you, the parents, how you understand the system and what values you like you instill in them. So moving forward,
In,
um,
in addition, let me
okay,
just add this quickly. Thank you. Let me add this quickly to what Kashman has said.
okay,
So, discipline is discipline, and they believe in discipline as well. The British believe in discipline. So, they have system. If you look at it, you may think that everybody in the UK is disrespectful. No, they are not. They even want to instill discipline in their children.
yeah,
So they have support system. They have support system, a lot of support system. So if you bring your child here and you don't know how to go about it, if you are finding it difficult, you can talk to the school, talk to the teachers, talk to the head of the school. They are going to help you get in touch with. They are going to even get in touch with those child psychologists and all those people. They will come in and then they are going to support you a lot as to how. So, for example, if you always will smack your child, they will tell you don't smack the child, but there are ways you can go about it to let the child do whatever you were expecting him or her to do. Yeah. So we need to be, maybe most of us don't know some of those privileges that we have, but there are a lot of privileges we can put our hands on and then get help and support. And they are going to come to you, they'll come to the child, they will be talking to the child, they will show things that you parents you can do to help the child, do the things that you are struggling to let them do. Yeah, so if you are a parent in the UK, you just came from Africa and you are struggling to, get the child, sort of integrate. You just talk to the school that your child goes to, talk to the teacher. They're going to give you support. They will give you support. They will be coming to your house almost every week to come and help you get the child on the right track.
and that is one thing that you wouldn't get that back home or wherever you are. So it is very important that we acknowledge the fact that you get the support you need with your case or for your own self. So moving forward, like we said, we are going to talk about children in general, immigrant children in general. So as parents, what are some of the signs that your child is facing either racism or bullying from school? Maybe you're just going to pick your child has started exhibiting some kind of behavior, be timid, etc. What are some of the signs that you think that if you see these signs in your child, then your child is facing some kind of bullying or racism or something that is geared towards bringing down the child's emotions or kind of like confidence? And if you identify those things, what do you think as parents? Do you need to take an action? And if so, what support can you give to them as a parent to help those children? Or you just feel like they are kids, you don't need to do anything, they will grow up to it, etc. Andy, what do you think?
Um, racism, racism is everywhere. Even in Africa, there's racism. In it. There is racism, but then maybe
Even in
we may not
Africa,
call it,
okay.
we may not call it racism. We may call it tribalism or
Yeah,
stuff like that. But it's everywhere.
wow.
So imagine yourself, you being a Nigerian living in Ghana, and then your child being in school with Ghanaians, among Ghanaians. You can see that the kind of treatment that will be meted to your child will be different from the way they do among themselves. They will call you
Yeah,
certain names. It's normal. It's everywhere. The same way if you are from the north and then you come down south to the same Ghana, you are a Ghanaian or you are Nigerian, but just the fact that you are from the north and you are schooling in the south, you may have those, funny comments like that towards you. So it's
yeah,
normal, it's everywhere. We shouldn't only look at it from color. No. We should look at it generally that racism, tribalism, all these things. Sometimes even the fact that you are a Muslim and you attend Christian school. I don't know if you ever attended Christian schools, but there are certain things they will do just the fact that you are a Muslim and you are
Yeah.
within. So anytime you find yourself among the subgroup or the smaller uh, population, there's some kind of unfavorable um,
Conditions around
actions
you.
you're gonna face. You're gonna face. Yeah, so it's normal. So one of the things you can see, like for example, when my daughter started nursery, she will come home and she'll be like, she doesn't want to go to nursery tomorrow. Why? Because she she doesn't have anybody to play with. You know, which is normal because the white people would look at her and be like, hey, why is her color different from our color? It's normal thing that happens. Yeah, so you need to just encourage her. So we spoke with the teacher, and then I think, in their own way, they try to, try and then let her understand and let the children also understand that we are the same and all that. So now she's happy. She goes to school. She's happy. She has friends. When she comes home, this is my friend. This is my, which she wasn't doing before. So we don't need to be stressed. Like, I mean, some of us are so emotional about those things. I think that we don't have to look at it from emotional point of view, but then we need to be open minded and know that these things are not unique to UK. It's everywhere. I am sure if we're in a class all blacks and there was only one white person in the class, we will all do something like that to them. Back then in Ghana, when we see a white person, we call them, hey, Okorotu Broni, they will be following them and then clapping, and these are all racism. Yes, but then we don't see it that way. But that is also racism. You understand? So it's everywhere. It's just the mindset. It's just the mindset. So you need to let your child know that he or she is not different from them. If whoever does something and she doesn't like it, she needs to report it to the teacher, and then the teacher is going to end. Once you report it to the teacher, they do something about it. Yeah. So I think these are things you need to, yeah, look at, and then really, yeah.
Wow. Wow. I would just, well, the part that I know, yeah, even because I have attended a school, it wasn't like a Christian school, but like more of many Christians. And I remember feeling somewhere at that moment. And one thing about the feelings is that it's just for that moment, okay. Things might get better in future, but it doesn't really mean that it's normal. But um over here, it's just like there's nothing you can do about it. It just you just have to keep encouraging the kids and all that. Well, um okay. So now, if you are going to take it from your own experience, okay, taking it from your own experience, what do you think migrants should prepare their kids for these potential cultural or racial biases? I know you do say that it is everywhere. You have said that it is everywhere, okay. Racial bullying and everything is everywhere, even in Africa. It doesn't have to be between races, as it can be between religious denominations and all that. But yeah, but it's still not okay, is it?
It's
So
not
as
okay.
kids, yeah, is it, yeah, maybe it might be normal to adults, but as kids, what do you think from your own experience? Do you think immigrant parents should prepare their kids towards, I mean, handling um, racial or bullying or any of these cultural shocks, either in schools or in the UK system in general? Um, so yeah, Cash is back. Yeah, we lost you for some time.
Honestly, I
We
was
lost
struggling
you.
to come back in.
Yeah, we lost you for some time. Andy just finished tackling the question on the signs that you as a parent might see to know that these are, I mean, your child probably might have gone through racial comments or kind of like bullying. So now we are talking about, as a parent, from your own experience, what do you think immigrant parents should do to prepare their kids towards handling all these cultural shocks and everything. Andy did explain that it is normal because racism, tribalism, and other things happens even in Africa and all that. But maybe it is normal to we the adults. I don't think that we should leave our kids to feel it in that manner. So as a parent, from your own experience, what do you think immigrant parents should do to prepare these people for this? Because yeah, it's normal because it's inevitable. You will always experience it, especially if you are in this part of the world.
Yeah, so first, we are always taught by our parents, by religious institutions to be peaceful, to love. And that is what we do. And then we pass that on to our kids.
Yeah.
Children will always imitate what they see in the home, you know, what they see mother and father do, the kind of words we use, and all that. We do a good job at teaching them how to love, but they are introduced to hate when they step outside the house. So I always tell parents, when I have the opportunity to, it is as important as it is important to teach your children what hate is about. You understand what being mean is, as much as you teach them how to love.
Right.
Because I will want a situation where your child can identify when he or she is being bullied,
Yeah.
knowing that, learning that from you. I'm not saying bully your child, but I'm saying have discussions with your child. For example, your child comes home and said, "Oh, mom, what does stupid mean?" Don't brush that aside. You have a conversation around it because that word stupid came from somewhere. It didn't come from Kashmana. So I'm curious. I will explain what stupid mean, and then I want to know who used the word. Did you find the word in a book? Was it who said it? It may not even be directly said to her. It may be that she heard somebody, another child saying, using the words, on somebody else. And then that opens up the room for discussion to say, look, this is a bad word. So you're not supposed to use this word. And if somebody uses this word, what do you do? Now she's beginning to understand that, look, this is not the kind of word to use. Now, sometimes this racism or hate they experience outside is not even just words, it's by action. How a
Right.
child collects a book from them or a pen from them, you understand. So for me, I always say that it takes parenting takes a lot of talking and explaining. It's a lot. It's a big part of being a parent. You have to explain. In explaining, you're able to pick your child's brain. And you see, when you are used to explaining and talking to your child, it builds that relationship. It also builds her confidence that she knows that when I come back home, I can always talk to mom, I can always talk to dad about what happened in school. But when you are not available, you are not listening, because it's only when you listen that you'll be able to pick up these things and then, you know, talk about them. So for me, you must first teach your kids what it means to be disliked, what it means to experience hate, so that when she goes out, it will not just be shock to her. So I tell my
Yeah.
daughter, look, it is not right and it is not acceptable for people to say XYZ to you. You understand? So she must know what is okay and what is not okay.
And
Because
maybe once you tell her that, you also tell her how to react towards them. Because as
now
an African child, mhm,
now
no,
the
come in.
reaction here, the reaction is different from the reaction back home. Here, you cannot confront any situation. You have to go through the system. So first, if you realize that, if you find out that your child is being bullied or she's going through, a phase with her
Mhm.
other kids in school, you have to first speak to the class teacher. You understand, and then encourage her to raise this concern with the teacher as well. When she comes, because we had a situation like that when my daughter came here. She was in was it reception. We had to, approach the school because she was being, I would like to say the word bully. I won't use the word bully, but they were being mean to her. And then my daughter came home and said, look, XYZ happened. So we had to And then she spoke to the teacher did not do anything about it. Because sometimes the teachers just brush these issues
Yeah.
away. You, the parent, will have to take it up. Because oftentimes when the child goes and say, oh, this boy was mean to me, he said this, he said that to me, you say, oh, maybe he's just having a bad day. You understand? And that brings us to the issue of the color. So maybe if another child had raised it, they'll probably take it serious. But coming from your child, I'm not saying in all instances, they may say, oh, maybe he's just having a bad day, or maybe she's just having a bad day. Don't worry, it will be all right, things like that. So if my
Mm-hmm.
daughter comes to me, I will ask her, say, what did your teacher say? She said, oh, he was just having a bad day. I said, no, you don't treat people like that because you're having a bad day. So I'll take it a step further. You understand? So at the end of the day, you encourage the child to raise concern, and then if you don't get the satisfactory feedback, you take it a step further. But
Okay.
I believe that every issue should be addressed to a logical and a satisfactory conclusion, so that you don't have a repeat of the episode. You
Yeah,
know.
I think that is very important. It will go a long way to even give the child some reassurance. The child will feel belonging to the system, and I think that is a high thing every parent should learn. Because in as much as these guys are children, if a child has that confidence to be able to report to a teacher before she even comes home to tell the parent, that is one thing that it should be encouraged. Okay, I'm not just taking action. I know the right channel. I'm gonna tell my teacher. I come home and I tell my mom.
Mhm.
It's not just for my mom to take up. I'm also telling my mom the actions I've taken. That is a very great thing children should all possess. Like I think. Well, moving forward, do you think with all these good, bad things that comes with parenting and all that in the UK, do you think newcomers into the UK are encouraged to bring their kids immediately, or they should come in and probably bring them later if they have some back home? Andy, what do you think?
Um, so it depends on the person, whoever is coming. It depends on the situation. For example, if you are coming in as a student and then you come in with your wife and you have kids, let's say you have two kids. First of all, what you should know is that accommodation is going to be a challenge because um, you don't have a job yet. Your wife doesn't have a job yet, and no renting agency, letting agency, or a landlord is going to give a house to somebody who doesn't have a job yet. So it's going to be a challenge. And if you don't have anybody here to accommodate you for that period of time,
Yeah.
you're going to go through a lot, some depression and all that. So in that instance, if that is your situation, I would encourage that, or I would advise that probably come in with your wife first, settle within 2, 3 months, get a job. So once you have a job, you don't need to have the money per se in your account. All they need is that you have a regular income, which means that you have the, the ability to pay because they will do affordability check. So once they do that, they know the lady has a full-time job, the man is a student who has 20-hour contract. So putting the household income together, they should be able to pay for the house. So once you're able to get a house, then you can bring your children. But then if you have somebody here already who can help you with it, that's fair enough. You can bring them. So it depends on the situation. If you don't have anybody and you bring your children, it, it, unless you are coming with plenty money. Because I know somebody who came in and paid 1 year advance. He paid just 1 year advance and then sorted himself. So if you have that kind of money,
Mhm.
then fair enough. But if you don't have that kind of money, I wouldn't encourage or advise somebody to come in straight away with the children. Yeah, maybe come settle first. Just give yourself like 2, 3 weeks, settle in, and then you can go in and bring them. But if you
Okay.
have somebody, why not? Go on.
Okay. Okay. So you believe that when you come in when you come in immediately with the case, you might not be able to get accommodation and all that. Well, okay. So, what advice will you give to those who are already here with their case, who have just arrived with their case, in terms of sourcing help and all that? So, this is so those who are yet to become, yeah, you have got it there. You're so lucky. You've got this advice. You're gonna struggle. Before I even actually move to this particular question, I have heard somebody's story. That is because they were already very rich back home. So they've sold their properties, they got all the monies and all that. So when they came with their two kids, they had to lodge in a hotel for weeks. I'm not talking about weeks in a month, for like weeks in a hotel before they were able to get a house. Now imagine I was coming in with my kids. Where will I get that money? Because it's difficult to get housing. You will not get a house just coming, because people want to be sure that you are affiliated to a job, um a very good job, before they'll be able to give you that house. So yeah, this is a very good advice if you are still back home and you are aiming to come. Now let's look at those parents that are already arriving with their kids, perhaps those who have already made the plans and there's no going back. They're already arriving with their kids and all that. Now, when it comes to securing housing, childcare, and like other help, what advice will you give them? Let's say they've already moved past this advice you are giving them. Now they're already in the loop. What do you think? Like, what advice will you give them if they are already here? To say they don't have anybody and all that. Is there any way that they can go about it?
Is it for
Um,
me or customer?
yeah, Kashmana.
Okay, so like you said, Fatima, you are already here.
Yeah,
I like to tell myself this: when you are in it, you have to be fully in it.
right.
There's no going back. We are here now, so we have to face it head on. You have two kids, you have four kids, you are in a system that is sort of do it yourself, do it all by yourself. There's no help. Don't think that help is coming. Do you understand? I know we say, oh, we have help. The system is in such a way that it caters to some of your needs. But as somebody who is just coming into the system, you must have this mindset of this is me and my partner doing it alone.
Yeah,
You understand? So don't think that don't come with the mindset, oh, I know Cash from back home. Cash is going to support me. Cash is dealing with a lot. Cash
yeah,
Mana is going through a lot. Fatima is going through a lot. So you must understand that, look, this is me. So I don't want to encourage anybody to have a mindset that, oh, don't worry, the church community will help you, the African community will be there for you. Have the mindset of help is not coming. We have to do this. And when you have that mindset, any other help that comes from the church community or from African community will be a plus. But it's not something that you are depending on to make your decision or to
right.
plan. So you don't plan that, oh, the church, if I join the church will support us financially or will be there to take care of our kids. Always have the mindset that, look, this is me going in all in. So that way you'll be able to plan, and then whatever help you get along the way will be an addition. But when you come with the mindset expecting that, oh, I belong to this church, I belong to this African community group, I will get help, you may be disappointed. You understand? For me, that's it. Just have the mindset that, look, I am here and I'm going to make it.
Yeah,
So whatever comes your way, you'll be able to face it head on. Otherwise, look, you end up complaining, you end up frustrated, you end up depressed, and then that is how the families start breaking apart. The next thing, you now start trading blames. Oh, left to me, wouldn't have come here, I don't know what we're doing here, you are blaming your partner. You see, that is
yeah,
how the cracks, you start seeing the cracks. But by the time you say, look, you know what, we are here already, let us face it. So for me, that's the mindset. So if I'm going to
right.
advise anybody, once you come in here, you get here, just know that it's you and your partner. If you come here alone, it's you and God.
So
So
don't really expect help from anybody. That simply means that before you come here, make sure that you have knowledge about the system and be ready to take up full responsibilities, right?
yeah. So let
Yeah,
me add, Fatima. And this is why some of us struggle. I know that it is not easy to come here. We struggle because you come here, you pack your things, you are leaving home. You come here and expect to be home. I don't know if that makes sense. You left home, you're coming into a different place, a different environment, but you are still looking back. So if you are here, forget, don't look back. That is home. If you keep saying, oh, if I were back in Nigeria, my mother-in-law will be there, my sister is there to help me. Unfortunately, you are not in Nigeria. So just look ahead, look forward,
And that is when you'll be focused to do the right things.
accept the system.
Right.
Do
Okay.
it yourself is what we is the situation here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I know Kashmana has already tackled this. I'll just push it to Andy very quickly. Kashmana did mention that if you are here, it's not the matter of having to choose between the UK culture and your own heritage. Okay, you don't have to opt for one and leave one. There must be a way to embrace both heritage. So quickly, I know Kashmana has touched a bit on it. Quickly, what are the few things you think parents can instill on the children, not to have to feel like they got to choose one, maybe UK culture over their culture, they got to be identified by one and not the other. Is there a way, what do you think in your own ways, case you can teach kids to embrace both heritage, Andy?
Yeah. So culture, culture is the way of life of people. They say. So if you want to go by the definition, then you are in the UK. The UK have their way of life, and then we came from Africa. We have our way of life as well. So now we have our way of life as parents. We have come to UK, which has its own way of life, and then you, the child, comes in, and then you are in between. So we need to blend. We need to push the UK culture and then the African culture so that we find a middle point. So one of the ways of life is language. So much as they are learning English, you should be able to teach them your language as well. You should be able to incorporate your language into, because when they go to school, they will teach them English.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. As for the accent, they'll get a UK accent. If that's your challenge, they'll get a UK accent. So try and teach them your language. Try and teach them your language. Teach them the food we eat in Africa. Teach them that we eat this, we eat this. Don't let it only be pounded. Sorry, what's that thing called? Mashed potato and beans and what is it called? Decaded potato and stuff like that. Give them Gary, give them Eba, let them eat Eba, let them eat
Fufu.
soup. Teach them. You see, as you are teaching them to eat the thing, you are giving them the history, the importance of our culture. Much as they are teaching them the culture of the UK, so you should be also be teaching them the culture of Africa so that they can embrace it. Once they embrace and love it, that's when they can go with it. Like the young boy in the UK will see any man and say, hello mate. You don't teach them to say hello mate to people. If you see anybody older than you who is like your dad or your mom's age, you call them auntie. So let them have that, let them hold that also in. I don't know the word to use, but let them love our culture as well. Teach them, explain to them that whoever is your mom's age or your dad's age is an uncle to you, is an auntie to you. Okay, show them respect. Don't only show your father or your mother respect. Show anybody you see outside respect. So they say charity begins at home. Let us let us teach them these things. Let us incorporate these things into them, inculcate it into their daily lifestyle. So that when they go out, you can see that indeed they are in a certain society, but then they are different. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the things we parents should see as our responsibility, and don't just allow the school system to, teach them what they know. We need to teach them. I've always said that you became an accountant because of the things you heard. So whatever you want to become, it's what you hear that will make you what you can become. You cannot become something if you have not heard anything. You understand? So whatever we want our children to become, we need to keep talking. We need to keep putting it in their ears. We need to keep explaining it to them. We need to keep teaching it to them. And it should not be forced. We should explain it and let them love it. You understand what I mean? Yes. We should explain, let them love it. Let them love our culture. Let them love our way of life. Much as they are loving the
Yeah.
British way of life, let them love ours as well. And
Right.
then that species is what will make the difference.
Wow. Wow. This is really amazing. I personally believe that it is important that all parents see it from this point of view. It's a very huge privilege that we have got our own culture and we've got the opportunity to learn another person's culture. Trust me, that's a very, very huge privilege. And the fact that most of some people really want to travel to stay as long as we are staying in this country, but they don't have the confidence to do that. Do you understand? So it's a whole thing, it's a whole flex that we are able to be here and knowing or having to preserve your own culture and still embracing another person's culture. It's just a fantastic way to go about this. And if you ask me, today's session has been a very insightful and impactful one. Like I've learned a lot, and our viewers, you can see that all I was doing was to sit back, ask the questions, and learn. Like I'm taking my notes, and I believe if I have my case, see anybody who has a YouTube channel, you want to talk, or any channel at all, you want to talk about these things in future when I get case, call me because I'm going to put all these things in practice. Thank you so much to our viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have not watched this video, make sure you kind of like watch it. It's going to keep streaming. Okay, please subscribe to our channel. Okay, check the description. You see Andy's handle, you see Cash Money's handle. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and trust me, we'll still come back again next week to have another live. We're going to try to see if we can have lives every single week. So I will just let Kashmana give her final remarks, and Andy as well within 3 minutes. Then we can say bye bye. Hi, Kashmana.
Yeah, it is a privilege to be a mom. Honestly, I don't take it for granted. So I try as hard as it is. And this is me saying thank you to parents out there who are doing it regardless of whatever they are going through. I really appreciate you. I see parents here how they struggle. They have my respect. And we just need to keep doing the best that we can. And then we hope that our best will be good enough. It is not easy. There's no one rule fit all. We all have unique circumstances as we raise our kids. We can only do our best. Regardless of your struggle, I hope you'll be able to look at your kids and you will get a source of, a source of joy, to know that your sacrifices are worth it. My love
Wow.
to all parents out there.
Oh, thank you very much. That was so kind. Okay, Andy.
Yeah, I also want to say thank you to you for having us again. And then my last remark will be that let's keep doing what we are doing. Let's Parenting is not easy. It's not an easy job, but then it's worth it.
Yeah.
Even though it's not easy, it's so worth it. Sometimes
Wow.
it's a responsibility that comes with joy. You
Yeah.
know, it's a responsibility that comes with joy. So let's keep at it. Let's keep doing it. If you have some challenges, you know, you can always you know talk to people that have gone through it, and have made it, and then I'm sure you're going to, yeah, get it. So let's keep doing it. I'm sure you will be happy in the future. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Bye. Can we say bye to everyone? Thank you for tuning in. Okay. And live stream. I want to